IVA over the last few months, it's been going over the summer, and let's just kind of recap it that way.
Okay. Well, we got our parks finished. Those park grants that we talked about a couple of months ago, the picnic shelters are complete. The concrete pads, or the floors, are finished now, so those are available. We're excited because we've added grills, and so now folks can go over there and actually grill out. So we haven't seen that. We're a little late in the summer getting it complete, so but we hope some folks will use that in the fall and utilize those grills. And so those are nice amenities, and of course we're grateful to the Parks and Recreation Department and the delegation here in Anderson County for approving those grants, because for a small town, that's about the only way we can afford to get those kind of projects done.
The Young's Park gets a lot of use too, right?
We do. We get a lot of use, and we also were able to complete our gazebo project. Basically what we did there is the flagpoles, there are 4 flagpoles in front of our gazebo. Well, they were there. The gazebo project was done back in the early 80s with a land and water conservation grant, which I think is part of this PARD grant now, but there were trees planted out there in memory of the astronauts that were killed in the Challenger explosion in '86. So those trees, one tree in particular, has grown so tall that it was interfering with flying the American flag. So we've trimmed the tree, the limbs for years, but now the tree itself has gotten so big that we don't want to cut it down. So the solution was move the flagpoles. So in planning for doing that, we decided we wanted to just enhance the Veterans Park a little bit, and so we've made that a little bigger. We moved the flagpoles so that the flags can be seen from 81 and from Front Street. Used to, Front Street was the main road through town, and now the 81 is widened into a 4-lane. It's the main thoroughfare, so we want to be able to showcase our Veterans Park for everybody to see, and in particular the flags as well. So we've got that done, and we're grateful for our PARD grant and for the delegation for approving that for us. So that's complete now. We do have a few more things we want to do to that. We want to add a nice monument and a statue of a soldier. So we're working on getting that designed, and the actual cost and contributions and grants.
Is it a particular soldier, or just?
It's a life-size soldier that will be kneeling at the monument. That'll have the names of the folks that were killed during a war. We had a monument out there that's been there for years that had those names listed, and we moved that to the American Legion post over on Hampton Street. So that was preserved, and they're grateful that that was moved over there to their location. And so we're, like I said, we're designing a new one now, and we hope to have that installed by the end of the year. We do have some folks that are showing interest in building some houses here. It's not many houses, but you know, we'll take what we can get. And but it will be nice to have a new inventory come in. We have a lot of mill houses here that need revitalization, renovations, and some of those are getting that. You have some folks that are buying some of these houses and that see you know, the potential of what they could be, and they are working on them. And but again, you know, as a small community, we need new housing, and so we're grateful for the folks that are showing interest, and we're trying to work with them. It's not many houses, but you know, if we can get 2 or 3 a year, hey, that's great for a small town, and it looks like that's the route we're going to be going. Right, the lake area gets a lot of interest, and we talked about this before, but as folks move into the lake area, that benefits the town as well. So we're hoping that will continue.
And over the summer, you celebrated the anniversary of People's Bank, and you had a big, you know, it was also a town celebration too. Yeah. Remind people what happened. So the bank celebrated their 70 years, their 70th anniversary in the town. That's been a real major player in Iowa, hasn't it? It has. They've been a major player in Iowa because they bought the post office, the old post office, which at one time was the Masonic Lodge. It had a couple of uses, but when they outgrew it, they built the new location. So they helped with developing the town with nice buildings. And of course, they've just branched out, and they've taken the Iowa name to other areas. I mean, they're referred to as the People's Bank now, but they were the People's Bank of Iowa for years.
Their first location outside of Ava was Homeland Park, and then they branched into several areas of Anderson, and now they're in Pendleton. They're good professional hometown folks. So we were very, very honored to be able to celebrate with them their 70 years. And we had the Lieutenant Governor here who was very, she was so nice and gracious when she was here. She complimented the bank, the town, and it was really a treat to have her here. Very warm and just very open to meeting the folks in Ava, and she congratulated the bank, and it was a good day. The weather was great, had a lot of folks show up, and in particular that day, we reopened our museum. What we did was we took everything out and started over again, which we thought at the time was a good idea. But in the process, we found things that were not displayed, we moved things around, and it turned into what we thought was developing into a nightmare. Because now we've got all this stuff we got to put back out. We've got to make sure it's showcased correctly, and now we have a deadline that it's got to be done. And so we spent Saturdays and Sundays and evenings, but we finally got it done, and we reopened it the day of the celebration, which was on Sunday. And the museum showcases Ava's history. Really, not only Ava, but the Star community, the Lounsville community, and then the area schools that were here back in the early 1900s and 20s and 30s. And so we found an old school desk from the 20s. We have that on display over there. So we had that open the day of the celebration, so a lot of folks were able to go in there and see it. It was just a really, really good day where political views were put aside, and it was a day of celebrating local industry or local commerce, and it was a good feeling for everybody. So for the next couple of months, we do have a display of the People's Bank. Actually, the vault is where we have the bank displayed, but as you walk into the museum, we have some modern day People's Bank up front, and that'll change over time. But right now, we're going to leave that there because it's such a major part of that building, But again, we encourage folks to come down and walk through the museum, and I'm sure that the older folks in the community will see things in there that they're familiar with that'll make them feel good. And then for the younger community, it's always great to learn about Ava's history, and so we encourage folks to go see it. We do have something coming up. We've invited the schools to create recycled scarecrows, to create a scarecrow made of recycled materials. And so those scarecrows will be on display in the museum in early October, and they'll be judged. So that'll be an opportunity for parents and school kids to go look at the others scarecrows, and then the museum as well.
Anything else over the summer that happened here in Iowa?
Well, we were able to have our Summer Nights concert series. We had a few that we had to move over to the Civic Center. We're fortunate that we have a Civic Center because when the weather is not agreeable to us, we can move it over there. And some folks like it over there better because it's got a nice concrete floor in there, and you have restrooms, and it's cool. You have the air conditioning that you can use, and when you're out there dancing, you're going to sweat, and so they like the air conditioning. But we like to have it outside because it's good for our restaurants, and of course with COVID, it's always better outside. But those have been well attended this year. The bands have been great. So October the 9th, which is just a couple of weekends away, we have our Depot Day, and that's our big fall festival. It's a one-day event. We have a big car show that goes along with that. We'll have about 100 vendors, craft vendors, art vendors, some food vendors. We'll have a band out there, and we'll have some rides for the kids. That's coming up on October the 9th. October the 14th, which is the following Thursday, is our chili cook-off. That's where we have amateur chefs. We don't have it will be judged this year, but it's a fun thing. It's not a professional judged event by no means, but we do have about 20 individuals, businesses, restaurants that will be participating in that, and basically they all cook about 2 or 3 gallons of chili. The folks in the community and visitors will go around and sample the chili, and we will have 3 judges, but again, it's just a fun judging thing. But we'll have a first, second, third place, and then we'll have a people's choice. So if you come and you like some chili, you can vote on that, and we'll award that as well. But we'll have a band here that night. It'll be a fun night. October the 23rd, which is the Saturday before Halloween. I think Halloween comes on a Sunday this year. So a lot of folks will celebrate Halloween on that Saturday. So we don't want to interfere with church events or trick-or-treating. So we will have our big Halloween main event the weekend before, which is Saturday the 23rd, where individuals, businesses, churches will line our downtown area, and kids will walk through and they'll be able to get candy, and we'll have a band and we'll have some events for those. That's always a fun event. A lot of kids dress up. We'll have a couple thousand that'll come through, and we're grateful to the folks who volunteer to give out candy, because that's a lot of candy. It's a lot of candy. We'll keep the dentist offices open for the rest of the year at least, but that'll be a fun event. So that's the 23rd of October, and then of course Christmas will have another slew of events as well. Our Christmas parade is already planned for December the 18th at 3 p.m. We'll have a tree lighting on Thursday the 2nd, I believe, of December. And we'll have kids from the schools that will participate, their courses, and then the band will participate. So it's a great opportunity for the kids at the school to showcase their talent. And then we get to, have a festive event. Santa Claus will come. We had a new restaurant. Well, we had two new restaurants. Our Mexican restaurant it closed down during COVID. And so we were concerned about whether or not they were going to open back up. They did. It's under new ownership, so it's still Mi Fiesta, but it's under new ownership. So they opened back up in the summer, and they've been doing great. And then we had a new barbecue restaurant open up. Chalk's Barbecue on Broad Street opened up. He's open Thursday evenings through Sunday, and so that's been a success, and we're glad. So that makes about 10 restaurants for Ava, which is tremendous for a little small town, But there's a lot of food options here. And then we just announced that Dollar Tree is coming. So our old Fred's building, we were getting a little nervous because nobody was showing interest in the building at all. And we're grateful for the fortitude of the real estate company. They just kept on and said, we'll eventually get somebody. But they did a great job, because Dollar Tree announced that they were going to be coming here about a month ago. So we're working with them now on getting them set up. I see they've put a sign up down there that says Dollar Tree coming soon. So it's official. We're hoping to have them up and running in about 6 weeks. So they'll be back filling the old Fred's building. And we think they'll do a great job here in town.
You got the Superintendent of the Year right here.
I'll tell you what, so in the last 3 years, we've had the Teacher of the Year for the state here from School District 3, and now we have the Superintendent from right here, District 3. And she's a great person. She really cares about the students in District 3, the staff, the school system, its reputation, what they're offering, and apparently the state saw that as well, because she is the Superintendent of the Year. The county honored her a couple of weeks ago. We're going to be doing the same thing with a parade on October the 7th. That's a Thursday night. Crescent High School is having their homecoming, so we always do a little parade through town to get ready for that, to do a big pep rally for the football team. So this year we're going to utilize that event in honoring her as well. So she's going to have a parade through town, and there'll be a little concert after that's over with, and we're going to celebrate her and what she means to our area. And again, like I said, that is about 3 years of good recognition for School District 3 and the Star and Ava community.
One other piece of news that's happened since last time we talked was the announcement of the new hydroponics herb plant. That's kind of down this direction. That'll be a lot of jobs for people down here.
Yeah, that's in our area, and that's going to be good jobs for folks who live here. And it's a good economic development tool to recruit people to move here and live here. And so we applaud the county for their diligent work on that, and hope to see more. We hope that we can see more development in this area of good, industry. But that is great. Like I said, we applaud the county and their efforts in recruiting that here. We're still working on the old dime store, which is the old Browns 5 and 10 building right here on the square. We do have a grant for a new roof and some other renovations that we need to make to the building, we will be applying for future grants to help complete the renovations in there. No specific use for the building right now. We do have some architectural renderings of what we'd like. What we envision is it being for the community. But over the next 6 months to a year, we hope to have it complete and available, for our community. But that building has a lot of history in town. It dates back to the late 1800s. The depot was across the street in the parking lot, and that was a grist mill at one time. It was a funeral home. It was a furniture store. It was the Browns 5 and 10. When you walk through there, you will see things from those prior periods that got left in there. So it's interesting to go in there. Right now, there's still some old wooden shelves in there that we are having taken out now to get it ready for some renovations. But we're just excited to see what it's going to become, and we're glad that we're able to preserve the building. If you're not from the area but you've been through Iowa, this is the building that has the mural on the side of the painting of the old depot. So that was important to the town that we preserve the building, and we are able to do that. So we're just hoping that in the next foreseeable future that it's going to be put to good use for the community.